Fans Ultimate Transformers board games here. This is part 2 of the selecting your TDM team, your team deathmatch team of 5. I'm going to go ahead and move forward with a quick leader class patch, because I did leader class in the previous video. Cyclonus might have been updated since then, so that his ability lasts 3 turns. 3 turns they can't melee or shoot. To make Cyclonus more competitive. The original Cyclonus, anyway, Target Master was pretty good and is pretty good. And then the other patches were let's see, a new Megatron in the Season 2 expansion pack, Megatron with the Heart of Cybertron from Season 2. His Robot Jets mode has a little bit more endurance and more strength by 1. And his robot mode has more strength, significantly more, 2 speed instead of 1, so we can move 2 spaces, 22 endurance instead of 20. His primary is 12 damage instead of 10, and has 4 range instead of 3, but less ammo. His secondary now it's 11 damage instead of 10, and 2 range instead of 1. And his ability is flight for speed 6 every 5 turns. So he can move 6. That's faster than normal flight. Normal flight is 5. And then let's see here. This is the last leader class patch for G1. Galvatron Char. I updated it so that he has 2 speed in robot mode, because with 8 skill he needed something to give him a little bit of an edge, so you would choose him over Megatron. But Megatron, the original Megatron and the Cybercore one I just showed you are still pretty good. It depends what you're looking for, but of course Galvatron Char's ability allows him to move speed 5 every 5 turns instead of 7, but the leader classes tend to have 5 recharge for the flight instead of soldiers who have 7. This is a regular leader class. It's not movie Galvatron with higher stats that you'd have to upgrade G1 Megatron and use a point streak for. This one you could just use without any strings attached. Alright, and on the page recently I released an expansion pack for RID. So here's the new Optimus Prime for RID. This is with all his offensive moves instead of healing and just 2 range on everything. So now he has the exact same stats, but his secondary is Flying Fist, so he has 2 shots of 10 damage at 4 range instead of his old 10 at 2 range, but more ammo. And his ability, instead of healing, is now Strafe Attack, which is 10 damage at 2 range, and every character within a 1 square radius of that shot within 2 range take 10 damage as well if you roll successfully. Or he could use his Blaze Blaster's the other ability to fire a shot 14 damage to range, but where he has a little bit of an advantage over G1 Optimus, despite G1 Optimus having better stats and better range, with the primary anyway, is that this Optimus fires 14 damage at 10 skill, and G1 Optimus fires 15 at 3 range, but at 9 skill. G1 Optimus, of course, is 10 skill, but his ability specifies that the skill for the shot, the 15 shot, lowers to 10. To also make RID Megatron more competitive, because the original Megatron for the RID story mode roster was kind of bad, as was the Optimus. Where to make them more balanced with the other characters involved in RID, because some of the characters are pretty weak. So Megatron has a car mode now with more endurance and more strength over his old jet mode, but he can't shoot. But he could use his ability Ultra Traction Drive he could use it in robot mode as well. If you use it in robot, he transforms, and then every character you move past, you have to roll for 8 damage, so you can move past multiple people, and everybody you move past, even if there's more than one on square, has to roll for 8. And you could just use it if you're already in car mode. He has the same weapons, same stats except for speed. His robot mode speed is 2 instead of 1, so now he's got more of that, robot mode flight. And his other ability is Cyclone Blast, which allows you to negate an attack of 12 or less damage without it costing an action, so you just negate it, and then you still have all your actions, your 4 actions the following turn, and it recharges every 8 turns. So he's definitely more competitive with some of the other things that are out there. Both Optimus and Megatron could still use their battle mode and dragon modes respectively, and Optimus can still combine into Omega Prime, but also there's a new Omega Prime to go with the leader class combiners. So to use the Ultimate Energy Combiner point streak, it's 30 points for the original Omega Prime, but that one in particular specifies that if you choose this new one, Maximus Energized, that it's 36 points. So that's 2 additional Energon cubes. Same stats, but his primary is now 20 damage at 1 range, and you have 4 shots, which is insane. He could just go around swinging 20 damage with 11 skill. His secondary is 2 range, 14 damage, still a pretty good secondary, and then his ability is Flight instead of the 20-shot Omega Arsenal Blast. Instead, he has the Matrix Blade weapon, and he can fly around and sword people down. Galvatron also got an upgrade. The RID Galvatron, this is Maximus Siphoned. His Gigabat mode is slower than his story mode Galvatron from RID counterpart, but he has more endurance. And a stronger weapon with more ammo. His robot mode, same stats, same primary, except now he has 2 speed instead of 1 in robot mode. In his secondary, instead of 10 damage at 2 range, it's 12 damage at 4 range, so he has much more range. And his ability can be used in either mode. You roll for a success of 5 damage for every character within 3 square radius of Galvatron, and for every successful roll on a character, you get to add 4 endurance to whichever mode you're in, every 10 turns. And in addition to that, this Galvatron can also turn into the Gargoyle mode, so he has a 3rd mode if you have the extra character in your selection of 5 and the point streaks to match to go Galvatron, and then transform back and forth between Galvatron and Gargoyle mode. Okay, let's see, what else was that? The one last patch, the most recent thing I released was the expansion pack for Transformers Armada, where if, let's see, the expansion pack, there was one leader class, Armada Nemesis Prime, who has the same truck mode as Armada Optimus, but his robot mode has 2 speed instead of 1, and now instead of 9 damage at 3 range with, I think, 7 or 8 ammo, his weapon is 12 damage at 1 range, 6 ammo. He's got the Dark Saber Sword. His pipe stack cannon is a secondary. He does 8 damage instead of 7, so he's a little stronger than Optimus there, and he has Armada Optimus' ability, the Atomic Smokestack. So I wanted to make this because I wanted the Decepticons to have a character with 10 skill, albeit with Optimus's vehicle mode weaknesses, but nonetheless to have, because most Decepticon leader classes don't match up to the skill of Autobot leader classes in robot mode anyway. So now on to the triple changers. Okay, first for the triple changers, we're going to go very basic. The original G1 story mode roster. For the Decepticons, Astro Train is very, very usable with his ability to carry up to 5 characters within a 3 square radius of him, and it transforms him into his alt mode if he's not already in his alt mode. He's got a pretty decent primary weapon. 8 damage at 3 range. His robot mode has 8 strength, which is pretty high for a character that has 2 robot mode speed, and 17 endurance. Only 7 skill, so average skill, but a lot of endurance. He could take 2 7 shots, even 2 8 shots, 16 damage, and still survive. His space shuttle mode has a little bit more endurance than most of the Seeker jets. The Seekers tend to have like 11, 12. Some of them 10. And then the train mode, pretty useless except for just taking hits if you're on your last leg. G1 Blitzwing. G1 Blitzwing is probably the second best G1 Decepticon triple changer, maybe even the best G1 triple changer. Triple changer in general that aren't leader class. His jet mode is a subpar jet. But his tank mode, 6 skills, so not very likelihood to land or dodge shots, but he's 18 endurance. 2 speed, 9 strength, so a lot of melee, and his cannon, 9 damage at 2 range. But that's definitely a powerhouse. His robot mode, 16 endurance, so he could take 2 7 shots, even a 7 and an 8 shot, no problem. Or he could even take 5 shots if jets are flying around and shooting. 2 robot mode speed, average strength, average skill. But his primary is the laser assault rifle, 3 range, 7 damage. His secondary is 9 damage at 1 range. His serrated sword, so he could do pretty good damage if he's close by you, and he can move around at 2 speed. And his ability in robot mode only, he could transform into another mode without using the ability counting as an action. So you could transform and then still have 2 actions. Let's see here. Triple changers. Springer, the Autobot Springer has a decent car mode. It's got good endurance. That's what makes it good. The helicopter mode, only 12 endurance, but 8 skill, and it has a weapon. A lot of Autobot alt modes don't have weapons. His robot mode, average strength, 1 speed, higher than average endurance, the 15 mark, but 8 skill. So he's got pretty high skill in robot mode, and he'll shoot his primary 3 range, 7 damage with the 8 skill, and his sword, 9 damage, 1 range. And then he has the same ability as Blitzwing, being able to transform from robot to alt mode without accounting as an action. Trax is, Trax, he's fast. And he has high skill in all his modes, but he doesn't have that great endurance in his weapon damage. If his weapons were a little stronger, he'd be more utilizable. But he's just, his ability's okay, but so let's see here. Season 3 expansion. So for Season 3, I think first up we have Octane. Octane has a decent jet mode, but low skill. The tanker mode is got high endurance, high melee, but it's slow. His robot mode is decent, but he's got 2 speed and 3 range with 7 damage. So he's like slightly above average, but he's below average for a triple changer. But what makes him good is that he can, in robot mode, he can negate the damage of 1 attack within a 1 square radius of 9 or less damage to this or another character, and it's used on the opponent's turn. It doesn't count as an action because it doesn't say it does, so you can just negate a shot or somebody within 1 square of you. So you can take advantage of that. Let's see here. Sandstorm. Sandstorm isn't as good as Springer. His buggy mode is pretty crappy. It's got 8 skill, but it's crappy. His helicopter mode, still kind of crappy with endurance, but good speed, good skill. Okay weapon damage. His robot mode, he only has 1 speed, and he only has 7 skill, so it's like, why would you choose him over Springer? Maybe for his ability. So in buggy or helicopter mode, every shot fired within a 2 square radius automatically misses for the next 2 turns. So within a 2 square radius of you can create like a barrier so every shot is missing to buy yourself time. But it doesn't count for melee. Of course, it didn't specify melee. And one other thing, there was one last leader class patch, back to leader class. Scourge, Matrix powered, so he's got 3 range in UFO mode and 6 speed, so he could snipe people all around the map, and he's got 20 endurance. His robot mode, he has another 10, 13 strength, 24 endurance. He could take 3 7 shots, 7 of series 21, 3 average shots and still live. 12 damage, 2 range, 10 damage, 2 range, primary, secondary. Weapons aren't that great with the range, and then his speed lowered from a 2 to a 1. I'll go over Scourge as a soldier in the soldier class video, but his ability is what makes him really good. So his Malisaur, he could reflect the damage of 1 shot at this to the attacker, and then you roll the dice. So basically, if someone shoots you, you can redirect it back to them, and then you roll the dice for it being attacked back to them. Or his secondary ability, Ultimate Power, negate any melee attack, just straight up negate it, and then the attacker is automatically dealt 10 damage every 8 turns. It recharges quick too. So Scourge, Matrix Powered is another good leader class there. But now back to the triple changers. I think that's it actually for G1, yeah. There's maybe, no, there's a little bit more. There's Ape Face. Ape Face, has a good beast mode with 17 endurance and 10 strength, average skill, but you could, if you're in close, you could take some damage in that mode and then swap back to robot mode to finish them off at higher range. His ability is unique in that he can get +2 skill when defending from an attack on your opponent's turn, and then it lasts for 3 turns, as opposed to other headmasters where you have to use it in advance to get the +2 skill for the 3 turns. Let's see, and then lastly, we have the Decepticon 6-shot. Average Decepticon jet mode. The tank mode, it's got 7 skill instead of Blitzwing 6, but it's got less endurance, only 16, and less strength, only 7. The weapon damage is 8 instead of 9 for Blitzwing, but, I mean, he has 7 skill, so he's more likely to hit and dodge shots, so it's probably about even 6-shot in Blitzwing. But 6-shot, while his robot mode speed is only 1 and his endurance is only 15, again, he can still take 2 7-shots, which are his average damage, but his primary weapon is 9 damage at 3 range, and he has 7 shots of that, so he could shoot, he's a soldier that could shoot 9, that's like leader class damage, and at 3 range. Then his ability, One Bot Army, the first is the wolf mode, so you can make his robot mode strength +1, speed +2, skill +2, you can't use your primary, and then it doesn't count as an action, it says at the bottom, or his secondary ability, become a, like G1 Megatron, so he'll become a secondary for another character so he can't take damage, and then the character's secondary is replaced with a weapon 10 damage, 3 range, 4 ammo, and that's great that it doesn't count as an action, it says that, so you can very quickly adjust to whatever circumstance with 6-shot. 6-shot has a lot of uses. Now on to animated. The only one in animated is animated Blitzwing. His jet mode has a little bit higher endurance than his G1 counterpart. The tank mode, again, it's more adjusted for skill instead of damage and endurance. And then his robot mode, higher damage but only 2 range, so probably G1 Blitzwing is better because it has better range. But again, the animated set is a little bit weaker than other sets. Animated Blitzwing has 8 strength instead of 7. He's definitely a lot stronger in this series. And his special ability is the Ice Beam, which can be used in either jet or robot mode. 3 damage, 2 range, and then the target cannot use any actions next turn. So now let's move on to Armada. There were a few. There was Armada Cyclonus, who has a lot of weapon damage in his alt modes. The helicopter mode, decent endurance because he could survive 2 6s. Most vehicle modes shoot 5 or 6, so he could survive 2 of those and still keep going. And then, of course, he has his third mode for more endurance, and then in his third mode he shoots 10 damage. In the helicopter mode, 8 damage. Robot mode, 7 damage, 2 range, but he can move 2, so it adjusts to be like decent. But nothing great. But his robot mode ability is, and it could also be used in vehicle mode, 10 damage, 2 range to all enemy characters in that square, and 1 square of that square. Oh, no, just that square, sorry. So, and all enemy within that square. So just within the square, so we can hit up to 2 characters, roll for shot success. And hotshot, car mode, it's got 15 endurance, so we could take 2 7-shots. The flight mode, only 10 endurance, but 9 skill, so very high skill. Engine gun, only 4 damage. Robot mode, only 7 damage at 2 range, but his special ability is 12 damage, 4 range. The whole jolt must be unlocked to use in story mode. All the Armada characters say that, but that just refers to story mode, not Team Deathmatch. In Team Deathmatch, you automatically have access. You don't have to have the minicon. I think that just about settles it here. Was there anything else? No, there were no other triple changers. I don't think there's... No. Yeah, alright, so that's the end of this. I'll go over soldier class in the next video, just regular soldiers that aren't triple changes, because again, one leader class, one triple changer. And then I'll go into giants and combiners where you can have a leader class. It says it on the point streak. Um, and that's how you would, adjust, like, what do you want to have, like, a better leader class in the beginning so you have a more formidable character at the very beginning, or do you want to invest your money with a slight disadvantage of no leader class into having a combiner or a giant, or even a titan like the cities, Metroplex, Fortress Maximus, Scorponok, Triptychon. See you in the next video. Thank you.